Good afternoon. We are going to work on an acrylic pour and do a collage on top of it. I've cleaned the canvas and I just used some soap and water to get the silicone oil off of it so there's no remaining oil, so that way we can varnish it after we're done. This is a recording of a live stream, so if you hear me talking to people in the chat, you're welcome to join us. We're at Ustream.tv and my channel's Debbie Epps, just like it is on YouTube. What I've done is I'm going to put a lighthouse on this kind of a cliff looking over, and so I've sketched a lighthouse and cut it out on Michigan paper. So there's Lake Michigan here, and you can see like Mackinac Island where the ferry and lighthouses are kind of big in that area. My sister-in-law uh, lives in Michigan and has an Etsy shop, and they do a lot of stuff. So this is kind of for Pam and Danny, her daughter. We all love lighthouses. If you're watching on YouTube, and feel free to fast forward because we're going to chat and take our time. All right, so I'm going to start by just gluing down. I cut out a tree in some music paper. I cut out the lighthouse from some map paper. This was not centered, so I'm just going to tuck this piece under. And these are going to be rocks to use. And then once I have it gel mediumed on here, I'm just using Mod Podge. Then I'm going to use the Faber-Castell pens, the India ink, and paint, and probably some acrylic ink as well. And I'm going to let the tree go over this edge. And I'm going to put on the lighthouse. Alright, and then I'm going to tuck this in. It was a little crooked in my original sketch on the tracing paper, so I just cut the part off so I can center it better. Alright, and then I have like little piles of rocks. Oh, the lighthouse is at Peggy's. That is such a pretty. I'm just going to put some of these here and there. I had a big string, but I decided when I was trying to lay it on the canvas that I liked it better if I cut it apart. I would have more options. And something in this brown is lifting. I think I told you that when I cleaned it. We talked about it, that I noticed. I think it's the ginger peach, because I know the green And CB, you haven't had any problems with the Vivid Metallics, their liquids that you bought? Maybe it's the Mosh Posh. Let's see. I think I'm going to cut this one. I don't think it's the Magicals. I've never had a problem with the Magicals doing that. Jean, ever. And I've used the Magical sprays on several canvases. I'm just indecisive here. But I will tell you, every time I've used this, it smears. So I used this, and I think that's what's smearing. I know this smeared in one of the canvases that I didn't use Magicals. And the blue did not smear. No, I did put a binder. No, I had a binder in. So these I can't, they always, no matter what I do, when I go to do another layer, they smear. But maybe it's the Mosh Posh. Maybe if I had a different gel medium, they wouldn't bleed. But they bled even when I jelly printed. This bled. These are the Vivids, not the pigment powders, but just the acrylic paints. So it's because there's Magicals up here and no Magicals bled. And the Magicals had, well, this isn't it, but the Magicals had iridescent medium in there. I don't know where the iridescent medium is. The Magicals all had iridescent. Yeah. I probably should email Leslie and ask her. I only got these two, but maybe it's the combination of these two. And this didn't do it before, but this has done it every time I've used it in every mixed media piece. And I love the colors, and I was going to buy more. But I do know that, she sells a gel medium. I'm just indecisive about this last set of rocks. Maybe I should cut them apart and put one, like put them by themselves. Okay. Do you use, Orla, do you use Mod Podge? Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, if there's something in the Mod Podge that is harsher. If that, you know. But even then, they bled when I cleaned it. You know, so. But like I said, none of the turquoise ones bled from the magicals. And I've used the magical sprays. Well, welcome, Ione. What's your name? Is it Christine? Welcome. All right. So let me dry this. I'm going to turn the heat gun on real quick. Now I want this, I think I want it to be a white lighthouse. I don't want a striped. I did a red one yesterday. Plus I think the red, the rusty red is too much like this. So I think I'm going to do a white, and I want to be able to see the map. So what I'm going to do is take Deco Arts, just some white. It's called whitewash. It is not an opaque white. It, I think, is it doesn't have a marking on this bottle like the little bottles do. It's a semi-apparent, a semi-transparent. But I am going to add a little glazing. Medium to the white. I also am going to get out the Traditions Raw Umber, Green Gold, Sap Green that had yesterday, and an opaque white. And this one is opaque. And a yellow, because I'll use that for the tree. But like I said, I want this to stand out. But I'll use that for the leaves on the tree. I'll do the brown on the wood first. Like I said, I just want a whitewash. On the lighthouse. And I'm going to take a damp baby wipe and just kind of blot some of that back. I want you to be able to identify the places on the map. And I'm going to go ahead and do that in here too. Alright, now I need to add gel medium back over that so I can use the markers, because I can't use the markers over craft paint. You could use colored pencils over the craft paint, but if I use the markers, it slides on the gel medium, and I'll actually put another coat when I'm done of gel medium or varnish. Yeah, Dee Dee wasn't going to put that she cleaned what she cleaned out and stuff. If she did, there'd be so many people saying, send me this, send me that. I still think she should just put it all in a box, find a church or a nursing home or um, a summer school daycare type program. I know, I was too, Tara. Yesterday's Lighthouse didn't record. Um, I stopped and went to push the record. I think what happened was, I think that I had, when I saved the recording before, maybe that it was on there, but I would just get that out of the house. I wouldn't try to sort it or deal with mailing it to people. I would just box it and take it somewhere as is. And if I don't sell whatever I'm putting in the garage sale, that's what I'm going to do with it for the most part. All right, I'm going to turn this on. That in the water. All right, that's pretty much dry. Yeah, I was real pleased with how it turned out. I think it will be pretty framed. Um, I would frame it with a 16 by 20. What we're talking about, if you didn't see it yesterday, because it didn't record, was yesterday we jelly printed and we took an old map of Maine from an atlas, and this was from a jelly print, from a brayer page, and we drew a quick lighthouse, and then we used the pip pens and some acrylic paints and did this piece, and it didn't record. And that's what we're talking about. So, but I think it turned out really pretty, and I just love the fact that whoever owned the atlas wrote waterfront for sale at marked. So they must have marked someplace on the map where there was some, I don't see a marking, but I love that that old handwriting is still there. And I was telling the girls the way I would frame it, because it's an odd size. It's 11 by 15. So it's going to be very expensive to frame. Is I would get one of those 16 by 20 frames that has glass, two layers of glass, and you see the wall behind it and float. And if you got a 16 by 20, you could center it and float it, and then the wall would show in the background. And that would be a great way to frame this, I think. Because you want to see that, you want to see this mane, and you want to see this torn edge and the writing. You want to keep the part that's vintage, in my opinion. But, and then I was trying to, I only have 12 by 12 bags, and I have 11 by 14 bags. So I had tucked it in this bag. And when I was in there, that's one of those color pages I did out of that watercolor book. And then Ange sent me some Barbie stuff. And we did this piece with Barbie. I found that when I had forgotten. This is not even on my Etsy. And then I also have another Barbie one. I'll show you. That I found. It was also the coloring page. And the coloring page is from a watercolor book. It's called Pepin Artist. And Ange sent me a Barbie catalog. And then these are like beaded flowers. This one would need to be framed in like a shadow box. Yeah, but Ella was framed, wasn't it, Jean? I think you just need to get an 11 by 14 frame for that one, if I remember right. But I can't remember if it was matted or not matted. It's also got that button and the flower on it, so you might need to do a shadow box with like a pretty piece of scrapbook paper on the back or something. Almost like you had to do with your niece's watercolor that you did, and be a little more non-traditional. Oh, she has a mat, yeah. So then it's an 11 by 14 frame. You might want to get a shadow box, because I want to say that that button and that flower won't sit in a traditional frame. So if you got like an 11 by 14 shadow box with the glass that has that, yeah, then that would work. Because like I said, I know that Jean's talking about an elephant that she bought that I did. It was jelly printed and then a blackout. And it had ribbon and a button and a flower on the embellishment. So all I'm doing is taking my finger and blending the brown. And that's what I'll do to the rocks too. And that'll give me, and I just cut some basic branch movements here. And if you get any outside of the lines, you just wipe it back with a baby wipe. Okay, there's a light color. And I want to do kind of a dark side. I'm just using a cobalt blue. And I also have a dark brown. Then I'm going to come in with, wrong ground. And I'll just try to get some movement. Let me see if I can zoom it in on the camera. No, I'm not an art teacher at school. Last year I taught math and science. This year I'm just going to teach, coming up, I'm going to teach 6th grade science. They won't let me teach art because I'm a math and science teacher. Is that better? I asked one year to teach art, and he told me emphatically never. That why would he take a good math and science teacher? He could get anybody to teach art. And I told him I think I was offended and complimented at the same time. And we do have a really good art teacher right now. This is when we're going to, and also they don't make as much money, so it would have been a cut and pay because it's not tested and it's not a core subject, which I don't actually agree with, you know. It's just the way. Is he work in Weatherford, Kmore? I have my art certification. I'm certified to teach art. Oh, he's in Lake Worth? That's one of the places I would definitely go work in. I won't go back to Fort Worth ISD. I'm just trying to add some highs and lows to the tree branches. We're still going to put um, leaves on it. I live in Crowley, but I teach for Harmony Public Schools, which is a charter school. Yeah, at my school, your pay is the same, but you get stipends or bonuses in the state of Texas if you teach certain topics. So math and science get a bonus. Language arts, ESL gets a bonus. Special ed gets a bonus. But like social studies doesn't get a bonus unless it's tested. Okay. And I'm not sure on the rocks. I think I want to use this warm gray. color. In some areas, but not all. So the base salary is the same, but they get like stipends. Now in public schools, coaches and UIL people, that some of those people that do like band, but in our school, it's a STEM academy. It's a math and science STEM academy. So the emphasis is on math and science and engineering. Okay. And then maybe I'll use just trying to give them some like separation. And a little more. They're painted with kind of a taupe. There's some of that paper that we jelly printed yesterday too. I may even use some black. Yeah, I love my Pip pens. Um, I'm getting to the stage where I have to replace. Um, I've replaced some of the skin. I need to replace, and I bought mine in sets. Like, I bought the set of gray. It had 3 warm, 3 cold. I like the skinny size better than this size. I bought the landscape. That was the first one I bought, and I use it a lot. Those I use a lot. I just bought different. I bought the skin tone set. I bought the gray set. I bought a landscape. I bought one that was like brights. And then I went in and I've replaced and gotten at Blix. You can get singles. Well, you can get singles online through Amazon too, but I've gotten a better deal at Blix when I bought the singles. And so I just did as many kits. Now you can get the set, but I just didn't have the money. Let me zoom in a little more for just the rocks. I never had the money to get all the colors. And I do have a few duplicates doing it that way, but not very many. The only real duplicates is I got a duplicate in this green and this blue and one of these grays. And this turquoise. That's about it. That's That's the only duplicates there. I think that's about the only duplicates I've gotten. I've got duplicates in the skin tone because I bought a second set. So I didn't get very many duplicates doing it that way. I tried to kind of keep a list in like a notebook and write down all the numbers I had so that when I would look at a set, I would see what numbers were in that set. I would go to the Faber-Castell website and see what numbers were in that set before I bought it. I bought my sets on Amazon because I found better deals on them for the sets. I bought the singles at Dick Blitt. And I'm sure Curry's and Jerry's also offer them. But I'm to the now, like 3 years in, needing to replace some of my colors. And sometimes it's my fault on some of them, like the gray. I've killed the gray. Not this one. I've killed the number 4. No. Cold Gray 6 is one of my favorite grays. I've killed it using it too soon when the gel medium was wet. I've killed several black ones. Just like pressing on the tip, just using it. Because I do use them. They're my go-to medium a lot of times. But like I said, you could do what I'm doing if you used a clear ground, like a clear gesso. Then you could use, it would give you the tooth, and you could do it with colored pencil. Oh yeah, 3 years. And some of them are in mint condition. Perfect. There's certain colors that I use more than others. So I'm super pleased with it's, and they're permanent when they dry, because when I started getting into mixed media, bye Kristen, thanks for stopping in. When I went to mixed media and started layering things, it's been 3 years now. The first thing I learned, I started with some sprays, and I got some Ranger sprays and Dilution sprays, but they're not permanent. And I put so many layers of paper on my canvases and on my projects that didn't work for me. Because I'd work on this perfect background, and then I'd go to do a layer of gel medium, and it would all move. So, like I said, that just didn't work for me, which is why I like the Lindy's. Why I use these. I saw Christy Tomlinson is who I was watching on YouTube. And she's more into planners right now. She hasn't done any videos on mixed media, but if you look up Christy Tomlinson and She Art, she used mostly the big ones. And that's where I kind of discovered them. And my husband gave me a hard time about not putting faces on the girls that I was doing. So I started painting the faces, and I got more and more control, and they became my go-to medium in many ways. All right, so I'm happy with those rocks, and I'm happy with the tree. Kind of hold this up. I think I want to put a little foreground. There's this crack that I'm going to go with. I went with the gray, but I don't want a gray there. I think I want to use this golden brown. And then lighten it and come back with the gray. It's like rails on a porch. And wooden steps. Okay. But what I'm thinking about doing is taking the dark brown and pulling down like it's a cliff where these rocks are. And kind of give the painting a little, just like kind of go with the pour. That's too much on that. That's more than I wanted right here. So I'll just take it back out. So that's what I've done. Sorry. When I zoom in, sometimes I lose that sense of and I think I'll take a little green I'm not going to add a lot. I want just going to add a little green in here in a couple places. Just to kind of make it look like there's grass sort of in that area. And kind of even a walkway maybe. Darker on the edges, like there's rocks. Yeah, I love the Delusion colors and some of the Ranger sprays, but for how I do art, they just don't work. So I don't buy anything unless it's permanent, which is why I do the Lindy sprays, because when they dry, they're permanent. Okay, so I think that's good with the brown. I'm happy with the cliff. Let's focus on the building here. Again, I don't want to take out the ability to see the map. So I'm going to put in a red, kind of like a brick red. And just blend it so there's a solid color, but you can still see the map. And then we'll let that dry, and then I'll come back with the gray and maybe even a little brighter red. I'm going to put gray in this window. And then I'm going to come across with some blue. I think I'm going to do the same thing on here and up on the glass. And I'm thinking about adding shutters on the window. And maybe a red door. Not sure I like that red. Too much red there. But I am going to add some of that red to that. I think I'm going to go ahead and darken this to the roof color. I like that better. Zoom in some more. Yep. And then just as I work, you'll have to help me. That's as close as it's going to go. Alright, and I am going to take same color I had in the big. I'm just going to add a little trim around. Added some brown to that door. And I think I'm going to take a skinny black, if it'll work. And just add a little, just a little line. Just like window, doorknob, that kind of thing. Kind of in the background here, making it look like there's a floorboard on the porch. And then I think I'm going to take and add the dark gray in here, like where the porch like goes under the stairs. Also wonder if we don't want, I'm going to leave the building white. I'm going to use a little bit of blue and some purple. I need to look on Dick Blick and see if they have like a Payne's gray. Because what I need is an in between the dark violet and this really light, and I would love a Payne's gray. If they don't, they should. What I'm going to do is add that shadow, and I'm going to come in with the gray and gray it up and pull it down and then get rid of some of it with a wet. It's going to lighten it. I'm going to use that gray over here too, just to define. Now this gray is number 3, cold gray number 3, and to me it works. I get like pencil lead kind of tint. So you can shade like you're using a pencil. Okay, now what I'm going to try to attempt to do is put in some clapboard. All right, and then I'm going to take that really tiny black. Yeah, but the problem is if I use an acrylic gene, then I have to put gel medium on top of it. If I use any paint, I have to put another layer of, the pip pins won't slide over paint. So if you're going to use any kind of paint, then you have to come back in and put another layer of the gel medium. So I'm going to come in with a really tiny black line, and then I'm going to try to blot it real quick. A fine tip in the grays would also be a great addition if you're listening, Faber-Castell. Then I'm going to come in, go just under some of these and add a little hint of a shadow. And then I'll come back with the gray and do that a little bit more in a couple areas. And then I am going to come in, because I'm done, and I am going to come in and on this area I feel like I'm done. Get my So I am going to come in and put some got white dots up there with my white paint pen. The Faber-Castell white is a broad tip also. If they made a fine tip white, but I will tell you that that white that they do have is chalky, and I have to, if I use a lot of it, yeah, yeah, I could. I have a Payne's gray in the fluid acrylics over here too for Deco Arts. I'm just adding some gray shadows here and there. Just some more details. I think I'm going to take that really fine black and add a little wood grain in here. Let me use those pins and see if I can a little closer. Let's add, I'm going to add a little shadow on the roof here and there. And I think I'm going to hit it with this brown and this rusty red color. Okay. And thank you, Tara. I kind of wonder if I need a little bit of an illusion of a roof line here. Kind of like a porch line. I think I'm going to take it all the way across. And then add darken here. I think I like that better. Yeah, so that way it's got more of a porch. All right, now I'm going to do the lighthouse, so I am going to, hi Eileen, I am going to back out. And pull it down a little bit. I'm going to back out one more. All right, and I am going to have to tilt it. You'll actually get most of the lighthouse that way. I'm going to have to tilt it because I need the angle. And I'm going to make this a white lighthouse. I'm going to start with the gray. And I'm just going to start out pulling it across. And I'm going to build it up. This is going to be my dark side because that's where the trees are dark too. Let me turn it this way. Now on this side, I probably won't do any more gray. I think I'll do black right here. I'm going to blend it and then clean it up. Now I'm going to come back. And darken that. Let that dry. I think I want to add just a little purple. The other purple might. While this is still wet, I can blend the colors. Do you want to clean my finger though? I'm going to bring some of that art, sort of. Trying to get that curve sort of in. The other thing I want to put on this side a little bit is I want to put a little bit of this brown in areas. I think a lot of the brown I want kind of in like where the window is and more at this top, kind of like rust. Like it needs to be painted. Smudge that black. Okay. I got white paint over here that I'm going to do the same thing I did yesterday. And I'm going to get a pen or the corner of the canvas in that paint. Sorry, let me back the camera out more because I can't turn it. I'll be more likely to be, and then I can move it up and down. I was like, wait a minute, the canvas is rocking. Okay. So I'm happy with the left side. So now I'm going to work on a darker gray and the purple. On this side. This is mine. can tell I put that craft paint on there. Because it's not blending very well today. Also, this marker is kind of a dead soldier over here. Okay. I think I'm pleased with that, other than up here. Okay. Take a little bit of this black, darken that up just a touch more. Okay. Okay, I think that's good. This is going to just be black up here. Need it to be a little more dome shaped though. Okay, the rail. I don't think I want to add anything extra to the rail today. Hi, Bo. And you can still see the map when you look at it up close. Alright. I'm happy with the lighthouse. I think it's daytime. We can put a little light action in there, like there's a light bulb. Okay, let's throw all those colors back up there. I think the tree is what we're down to. So let me put all these colors up out of our way. And I'm gonna get the brush that I used yesterday. These are Donna Dewberry brushes. They were the best brushes, I have to say. They weren't very expensive, and I really liked them. I almost down to very few left. But this one makes a really good for pouncing. So what I'm going to do is put opaque white in a couple places. This bottle's almost gone. And put a little bit of the yellow on one of the whites. A little bit of sap green. No, green gold on the other white. Sap green on this big pile of white. I'm going to put sap green on the other side. And put sap green by itself with a little of the raw umber. And the raw umber should be opaque too, because it's the Traditions. And I'm going to start just by pouncing in some leaves in a dark. Maybe we're going to go off this side of the canvas here. Light pressure sometimes, heavier pressure others. Alright, I'm going to get most of that off. Because the problem yesterday was I got too much paint on my brush and it got too wet. Okay, now I'm going to go in, try to get a medium tone. So I'm getting some of the sap green, white, and the green gold. I'm going to take some of that paint off. Again, I don't want it to get too wet. Heavier in some places, a lighter touch in others. Like that was too heavy right here. But I can hit it with a, I'm going to hit it brief. See, it's getting too wet and blending. Too much there. All right, now I'm just going to go the green, gold, and white, and I'm going to pick up just a little bit of yellow, a little bit of sap green. All right, so these are my highlights. Okay, and then I think I'm going to come back with just a yellow-green light, just a little bit different green. I don't know if I like that green either. I think for today's purposes it'll be fine. This brush here is a Donna Dewberry. It's when she did the, what do they call it, where you dip your brush in one side and you dip it in the other. One stroke toll painting, basically. And I bought a big set. And this was by Plaid, one stroke. And this is called a Scruffy. And I love this brush. I need to look and see. I think you could still get the Donna Dewberry. They were really good brushes, and they weren't a lot of money. I think I have a beat up fan brush. Nope, that's not even Donna Dewberry. That Scruffy may be the only one, and this glue brush. This glue brush is Donna Dewberry. I had a whole set. And I really liked the brushes. They were good brushes. I think you can probably still get them because they still teach the one stroke technique. I never did the one stroke technique. Okay. So there's the tree. All it needs now is a signature and a coat of varnish. I'm going to get rid of this paint over here before I make a mess. Clean my fingers off before I go to the next project. Now, if you don't like dirty hands, you will not like using the Faber-Castells the way I use them. Because usually the tip of every finger it's got some kind of ink on it. But it comes right off. I mean, just a wet wipe and it comes right off. So it's not like it stains your hands for a long time. Alright, so let's get... I've been using these to sign them lately. That's the 8. These are by Precision Pens by American Crafts, and they're waterproof. So I'm thinking just down here. Let me back the camera out, and you can see the whole piece. Well, you can almost see the whole piece. Yeah, I just keep the baby wipes right here, but I pick up as I go. I don't mind a mess at all, but as I go from stage to stage, I do clean up. My room might be a disaster in some places behind me, but as I'm working, I do like to keep my desk area where I'm working clean. So I return my paints before I go to the next stage, usually to the cart and to the bookshelf, and clear everything off. So I don't think I want to use the triple thick because it just hasn't been working lately. I don't like watering it down. So I'm going to use, I don't want that. I'm going to use the satin. I'm out of gloss. So I'm just going to put Deco Arts Tradition Satin on there. This may not be the way some people do it, but this is the way. I just start on one side and start working across, going in one direction for the most part. Hit the sides. And then later on, I'll usually put another coat on, going the other direction. But I am getting I'm picking up that whatever that is in the background. I had to clean my brush because I was picking up whatever that color is that's bleeding. And I didn't want to bring that across the lighthouse. So I have a clean brush going across the house and the yard. Now I'll just finish this area down here. Could be the green in here too, because it was yellow. May not be the ginger peach, it may be the green, because I think there was some of that green. I said I need to email Leslie and ask her. or tell her what's happening. I'm going to come across the top, down the sides. And now I got the bottom down here. See where this is yellow? Some of that's from the bleed, I think. Some of it's the paint, but some of it's the bleed. See how much comes off? Then the water. All right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I thought Amazon had the Donna Dewberry brushes. They're really a good brush. I loved, for a long time, I had, I loved the angle brush, and I really liked them. And I had them for a long time. Sure, I don't have any puddles. All right, let me stop the video. Oh, let me do this real quick before I stop the video. All right, this is for the people at YouTube. I am having a sale at my Etsy store. So if you're interested in this piece that we just did today, or any of my other art, now through July 15th at Debby Epps on Etsy.com, 40%. The coupon is Summer 2017. And that is good now, June 1st through July 15th. That coupon code is good from June the 1st through July the 15th. All right, let me go ahead.